Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Max Voltage live stream. We will try that again. That was so weird because I actually literally clicked that button and it grayed out like it's supposed to. And somehow when I switched to scene one, it changed back. Good. Duly noted. Duly noted. Obvious. Dang it. Now, Hobbyist and I are like in a competition to see who's the last person to have been muted. It was him before this. Now it's me again. Well, how are you guys all doing tonight? I'm doing good. Had a good week. Yeah, boss wasn't there on Friday, so that was kind of nice. And volumes were a little bit low. The biggest problem I had was figuring out exactly when I could let people go for the day because it was a nice day. It was going to get hot the following week. And so people were like, hey, we having VTO today? Like, yeah, eventually. Anyway, so, but it was good. It was a good week. Hope you guys are all having a good week. Actually did a lot of work at home on the website, and we'll talk about that a little bit later with version 3. But yeah, we'll talk about tonight Perl and what it actually means to be proof of useful work on this platform. What does that really mean? I do not think this word means what you think it means. Reference to Princess Bride for all those people that know. But it is definitely different than what I originally thought. And yeah, we'll go over, there's a platform called Together AI that is actually offering inference through Perl and actually offering a discount because of it. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Talk about some changes that have been happening on Vast. Hobbyists will be joining me in a little while, probably in about 30 minutes or so, probably about 20 minutes now. But yeah, let's see who is here though. Yeah, I know. I see Enable. I try to keep him out, but he just keeps coming back. Anyway, Squirrel Masters is first. Yes, no, Cooking Mailman, I think Squirrel Masters was first. You were close, though. You were close. Let's see. DJ Death Star is here, working at the moment. Well, somebody's got to be working at all times. Otherwise, services break down. But Dan Bulmer's here. North Star, I was going to say North Star, but North Star 23 is here. Yeah, we always have 2 live streams on Saturday. Well, most Saturdays. Last Saturday, actually, we did have 2 live streams. He followed me on last Saturday. I'm sure he was trying to make a joke, but let's see who else is here. Got quite a people here already. We got 37 people already here. That's a lot early on, that's for sure. Let's see who else has shown up. Red Panda, of course, is here. Smashed that like. Appreciate that. Deja. J. Bowman? JB Man? Not sure if that. I hate the fact they changed these. Instead of being YouTube handles, they're like your actual, like mine's at Max Voltage Tech because that's my actual ID. I wish it was just the. Anyway, Enable is here. Happy Saturday to you as well. NES FPS 5480. Yes, classic. I know. Mr. X625 is here. See, I just do that to like get engagement in the chat. That's all. That's all. Learjet Minako. And who else do we got? That is so weird. I think I may have Hobbyist is here. Turtle Tech is here. Northern Crypto and Tech. I can talk today. Mr. Peaceful is here. And Rizzo 529. I was going to say he got in just under the wire, but actually Valdorico made it in under the wire. So welcome everybody. Appreciate you guys being here. So let's talk a bit about Perl. It's interesting because of the tech, I actually think that it's not a flash in the pan. I'm not saying it's going to stay as profitable as it is right now. I'm not saying that at all. But I think it holds a unique place in the market. So AlphaMine, who does Alpha Pool, which is a Perl mining pool, published a video a couple weeks ago, and was showing how if you had a 5090, you could run Gemma 27B on your 5090 that was mining Perl. Now, what he did show was that DJ Death Star, sorry, we'll get back to that in a second. DJ Death Star with the $10 super chat, thank you so much. Gave up on Vast to rent. I got a message from CSR telling me that I can't use cash to rent hashrate, and it is highly discouraged. I will send you a screenshot when I get home. Not happy. I can't use cash to rent hashrate, and it is highly discouraged. Really? I want to see that. I definitely want to see that. That is a story, because that's pretty stupid of Vast. I mean, business is business. Like, why would they care if it was Perl or not? Or, mining or not? And they didn't say, this is what, a comment like that, not your comment, so don't get me wrong. I mean the fact that if Vast actually used the quote, highly discouraged, but not illegal, what's the point? What is the point? I can't use cash to rent hash rate, and it is highly discouraged. That's, yeah, send it to me if you would. Yeah, I'll tweet that out, because that is some serious horse doo-doo. Anyway, thanks for the $10 super chat. Not necessary, but much appreciated. So as I was saying, so Perl, if you're using AlphaMine software, you can actually take your 5090, and there's a setup to it, but you can actually take your 5090 and use it as your own LLM, and still be mining Perl. Now, this is where I thought it was interesting in the fact of when they say proof of useful work. Okay. Is it really proof of useful work, or is it two simultaneous things running in parallel? So in other words, when inference is very spiky, when you send a request in, obviously it's going to run. And then when it's done with that, it's not going to run, and you're going to have a period of no usage. So what I found when AlphaMine was doing his demo in his video, he showed that his hash rate went down when he entered in a request. So I'm not saying it's not cool, but is it really proof of useful work? You're kind of trading one for the other. It's still very unique, very, very unique, but I don't know. I thought with the way that they were selling it initially was that a third-party platform would be able to offer through their network. And what Together AI is doing, in fact, let me bring this up. And let me switch over. Come on. There we go. Maybe. Okay. Wrong scene, maybe? Wrong scene. There we go. Now it's the right scene. They're offering Gemma 4 31B. They're calling it -IT-Perl. And they're saying that they're giving a 25% discount because of the fact that they are running their own GPUs on Perl. So when you actually rent it, you don't have to spend as much on it, because in the background, when, again, very spiky, when you are renting it, there's going to be periods where you don't have a command going through. You're reading what it's presented, So that's where they're saying, hey, you get a 25% discount because in the background, we're mining Perl and we're giving you that discount because we're making the money on the Pearl, but that's like as if I was going to allow somebody to use my mining GPU and offered it to somebody, and I would still be collecting the Pearl in the background type of thing. So I don't know. I thought it was pretty interesting. I looked into this a bit today because I saw the demo that that AlphaMine did, and then I heard about the Together AI, this platform, and they've got all kinds of things. I think they're self-hosted. I don't think they have any third-party hosting on their platform. I think it's all them, and certainly the Pearl is all them. So again, I thought that was pretty interesting in the fact that that's how they are doing this. So anyway, I thought that was pretty interesting. Let me get back to the chat, see what you guys are talking about. Max voltage, MVT. What's that abbreviation for? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank. I'm sure it has something to do with Pearl. Yeah, Red Fox was in at 9 a.m. this morning. That was a nice surprise. That was definitely a nice surprise. Hope he makes that his regular time. I was gonna join for Serpent, but I got busy. I needed to get some stuff done. Wife comes home tomorrow. Did manage to work in Panda though. Let's see. What else are you guys talking about here? Nice Kingston Fury memory ad. Oh yeah. Or were they offering it for free? I'm sure they were not. I'm sure they probably didn't even mention a price. Turtleneck. Maybe I need to wear a flannel. Yeah. Yeah, it is very unique. It definitely is unique. Let's see. For Vast, only crypto. Yeah, no, I got what you were saying, DJ Deathstar. That was only for mining crypto, but still, why would they care? I mean, I don't get it. I really don't get it. For Vast, do they like credit card? Well, that was the other thing. You said cash, and I was like, cash. I think he just means money. I don't know if he necessarily means cash. Sunday, got it. You'll forward it to me on Sunday. That's fine. Tomorrow, that'd be great. Yeah, exactly. What the hell does discouraged mean? Can I use it or not? Exactly my thought. Yeah, just two things in VRAM at the same time. Yeah, exactly. But again, it's not being done by anybody else. And it's two running simultaneously, but they're sharing resources. So, well, Pearl's using the resources until there's an inference request, and then the inference request basically takes over most of the resources at that point. He was saying it was like dipping on a 5090. It was dipping down to about 100, down from like 360. So it didn't even go to zero. It's a bit gimmicky. See, I had been thinking about taking down one of my rigs so that I could use it for myself. And so I honestly, I really like the idea, because then I can use it whenever I want and still have it mining, 95% of the time. If you have, so what I'm trying to figure out, I haven't talked to AlphaMine in a while. But our last conversation, I was like, hey, can you hook this up to a harness, Hermes or OpenClaw or something like that? And he's like, theoretically, it seems like you can, but I haven't done it yet. So I need to get back with him. And I haven't checked his videos. For some reason, his videos don't pop up in my feed, even though I'm subscribed and I've clicked the bell. We all know how that works sometimes. But if you had like agents and stuff where you had them scheduled to do things at a certain time, you wouldn't have to worry about, oh, well, geez, I better make sure I'm not mining at that time. Otherwise, it's not going to work. No, it would nicely, automatically move the workload from mining to inference and back again. So I don't know. I think it's a really cool technology. It just it seemed a little disingenuous the way it was originally sold. But yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting, and I think it will solidify a place for them. Because I think as more and more, I mean, a lot of stuff that's been coming out this week with them talking about newer models coming out, like GPT 5.6. They're talking about, well, we can't roll it out to consumers, but we're going to roll it out to select corporations. It's becoming gate kept. That's their security. We're going to allow big corporations because they have their reputations to uphold, but consumers, who could be anyone, we have to be more careful with them. And I see the logic, but from a person that's using AI, that's really frustrating. So what I could see happening more and more is that more and more people are going to spin up their own AI LLMs, because, as we've said before, home models or local models have been about 6 months behind. Well, if they're going to gatekeep the better models, well, guess what? In about 6 months, those other models are going to be there already. So, eventually they will be caught up to where, and that's why I don't know. I'm really kind of confused as to where this is going to end up, because if they keep gatekeeping the best models, then unfortunately that means more and more people are going to go to local models, and they won't get as many subscriptions, and they'll lose out on cash flow, which they won't want to do. And so I don't know. I don't see an end game on this one yet, but I am pretty curious to see how this comes out. Cookie Mailman says, you can get RAM for the low price of a kidney and a liver on sale. Well, you don't really need your whole liver. So yeah, they would just cut out a portion of your liver and a kidney, because you can live on one. Anyway, did on Intel Arc cards currently in testing. Yeah, I mean, the Intel Arc cards, like with local models, you can use them. I've seen, I wish I could remember the guy's name, Alex something. He tests all these different cards, and big into AI, and very, I don't know how to put it, entertaining, I guess. Anyway, let's see. If they can combine the pool's compute power to run the workloads, that's what would be really useful. Yeah, it's still on a card by card basis. Do you get paid for the inference at the same rate as the hash rate you are giving up? Well, no, that's okay. So again, Together AI is charging a certain rate for renting it, and it's based on time. And that's all. So no, I take it back. It's not based on that. If you look at this, you'll see it is based on million tokens. So it's 28 cents per 1 million tokens input, and 86 cents per 1 million tokens out. And that's what they're charging you, the person that is using those GPUs for that. So as the miner, you're not making anything you're just not having to pay somebody else to do the AI, to do the inputs into the LLM and get the outputs. Cookie Mailman says only RPM can gatekeep, darn it. What is that? What was that? Somebody tell me in Ghostbusters. It wasn't the gatekeeper. What was oh geez, I can't even remember the actor's name. It was Sigourney Weaver and the other guy who became the Lions. Anyway, somebody will tell me. Uh, wow, I'm not reading those things because Panda, this is a family show. Uh, not the giant marshmallow man. Not the Keymaster. That's it. Rick Moranis. Thank you. Anyway, Shrunk the Kids. Well, there's going off. Well, not totally right field. It's taking about a 30-degree angle off of what we were talking about. Um. Anyway, yes, the Keymaster. The Keymaster. All right. Well. Oh wow, yeah, we're all going through all the movies. Feed me, Seymour. Uh, yes, you are uninvited to Christmas dinner there, Panda. Just so you know, that potty mouth of yours. Um, so all right, let me go back to scene one. There we go. Um, so anyway, I don't know. I think it's interesting technology because I believe there's going to be more and more local inference. And I think this is a really cool way to still make money with your GPU while at the same time having a dedicated inference machine at the same time. So I think it's cool. It's just not what I exactly expected when they called it proof of useful work. Definitely don't think it's that. Alrighty, well, enough of that. The other thing, I'm just going to talk about a couple other things, but um, yeah, let me go this way first. So this was kind of interesting. This is a different platform. Thunder Compute is a different platform where they have their own GPUs. They don't offer hosting through anybody, but they tout themselves as 80% less. So they tout themselves as a cheap alternative, heck, even cheaper than Vast.ai. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but what I did find here was they talked about Vast AI, and I thought there were a couple of interesting things where they talked about, H100, H200, Blackwell B200. Now, with this said, they're still talking about May when Pearl was still going on. So this is going up, and now it's come back down. So this isn't really the important part. But what I did find interesting was that Vast AI officially dropped support for several aging architectures, removing V100 16 gig, the A40, and the RTX A6000 from its catalog. Now, what I don't know is what do they mean by catalog? And they don't make that clear. I can tell you that looking at their market stats, those GPUs are all still there. So I'm not sure exactly what they mean by that. I'm guessing what they mean is that they've taken templates that are supporting that that technology, that they've taken that out is my guess. But I don't know for sure. But I thought it was an interesting analysis of them saying that these are going away. So I don't know. I would certainly take this with a little bit of a grain of salt, but at the same time, I would certainly, if you were thinking about getting any of these cards. Now, again, what's interesting is they do not talk about the V100 32 gig card. But yeah, it's something to keep in mind as you're deciding if you want to maybe use some older GPUs because they appear to be doing well. But yeah, so yeah, Panda. When I read that, I thought about you, and I was like, I thought he said he was buying there were 32 gig V100s maybe. And again, you said you were going to buy V100s, but I thought maybe you were going to put it on. I thought maybe you were going to put it on SimplePod, maybe. Bare Naked Miner coming in with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much. Thanks for your continued help, knowledge, and sharing. No problem. Happy to do it. Yeah, we'll wait till Hobbyist gets here and we'll talk about V3 of the script. Because I know he's had experience with it, and he gave me a few pointers on how I can still make it better, and I definitely have something where I definitely need to make a change because it's clear, but it's not clear. You got to be paying attention. But we'll get into that in a second. And then the other thing I mentioned in the title was $14 a day. Yeah, my RTX Pro 5000 has been consistently making $14 a day. Yeah, that one makes me happy. Now, of course, since I mentioned it here, it'll probably get unrented tomorrow and I won't have it rented for a week and a half. But it's been rented really consistently lately. So I've been pretty happy with it. It's rented at 50 cents. And then with storage and internet, it's at 59 cents is what it's at. Swamp 7, welcome. Yeah, joke's on you. My V100 16 gig still makes 0.1 per hour on Vast. So one of the things to keep in mind with what was said there is templates that Vast may be supporting. That doesn't mean that you can't create your own template. For example, Swamp 7 has made a Docker template that you can use on Vast. And I have used it. In fact, last week on the stream, I was actually renting Perl and got it running. And then I used the rest of my $5 that I had deposited looking for really cheap short-term rentals. So I was looking for all intermittent and anything where I could get, say, a 5090 for less than 25 cents or get a 4090 for less than like 17 cents. And I was finding those. There were far and few between, but they were available for a small period of time. So that did work. I don't even remember where I was going with that. But anyway, my point is that yes, people can still use those GPUs. It's just that Vast isn't going to be providing the templates and the updated templates for those things. Let's see. David Analyst, welcome. So much for the family programming on this channel. Yeah, I know. Cannot control some of these people. What am I going to do, David? What am I going to do? Panda calling him a hacker. We already knew that. Let's see. Yes, please smash that like button, everybody. I would appreciate it. We got 57 people here, and it's still climbing. Appreciate you guys all being here. We'll see if it stays this high when Hobbyist gets here. Just kidding, Hobbyist. Just kidding. All right. What else was I going to talk about tonight before he gets here? There was one other thing. So I talked about the OTC market, the Pearl-OTC. So a couple things have changed. One of them is that it is no longer Pearl-OTC. It is now OTCIAN. I don't know how you say it, but I'll see. Cookie Man says, I did smash the like. Now my hand is broken. Well, I appreciate your enthusiasm, Cookie Mailman. I can't do anything about your broken hand. Put some ice on it. There's a tip for you. But they changed to OTCIAN.com. And then it's /desk/Perl to get to the Perl desk. But the problem I have with that one is that you put out an offer and you wait and you wait and you wait until when you least expect it, somebody puts in an offer and then you miss it and then you get a strike. So right now I have 2 strikes out of 3. And on the third one, I'm going to get kicked off the platform because I miss it. So I decided to try out Lord of Pearls today, which is, let me see something here. Let me disconnect here. Oh, wow. There was a lot more on here earlier today. There was a lot more on here earlier today. Show all bids. Come on. Wow. There are no bids right now. But anyway, let me move this up and then I'll share the screen again. So this is Lord of Pearls, which I don't actually know. I always check back on Safe Trade to see what their price is. I would expect that it's a much better price than this right now. But earlier today, it was actually like 2.5 cents better than what Safe Trade had. They had a whole bunch. You know, somebody kept putting in 59.5 cents. So, yeah, there's another one. Just rub some dirt on it. Good Peyton Manning reference. I like it. I like it. Yes, and yes. Does that even need to be said? Gen X made? Gen X is the best. No question. By the way, if anybody wants to understand Gen X, Dad Bod Veteran is a great guy that puts out great videos about Gen X. And the latest one I just watched was, yeah, when you get to be our age, you just don't really care what other people think. I mean, it's not that you don't care. It's just the fact that he was making comments because people make comments in his comments, and he's like, yeah, go ahead, I don't care. You can say whatever you want in there, it does not bother me at all. So anyway, so I just thought that was funny when you said the Gen X ruined the world. Oh my gosh, them fighting words there, Red Panda, them fighting words. No, millennials ruined the world. No question. No question. No question. Question. We raised ourselves. We were like, we might as well have been raised in a forest. You know, it was go out and play, get out of the house, just come back when it's dark or when I yell dinner. That's it. Those are the two rules. And don't get into trouble. Don't make anybody else's parents mad. That's pretty much it. They didn't even say don't break anything. And that sometimes happened. GM Zombie Miter. I'm with Max on this one. Anyway, I thought this was interesting. Like I said, earlier today, this looked a lot better. Right now, there's no buys, so it doesn't really help. But you do connect your Telegram, and you do deposit your Pearl. Like right now, I have like I cashed out at 200, but I still have 15 left in there. So I don't know. I'll try them both, but when I use the other one, I am pretty much just going to be doing the like the transactions that are already loaded. I'm going to go with one of those. Now, the other trick on the platform I was using, the pearl-otc.com, that one, there is a trick to make sure that you don't get a strike. And that is to basically always say you're asleep. There is a setting that you can set for when you normally sleep. So what I did to make sure I didn't get another strike is I set it from 9 a.m. to 8 a.m., 23 hours a day. I got to change it though, because 8 a.m. is when one of the payouts from the pool. So I actually might do something during that period of time. Anyway, I'm going to change that to when I know I absolutely won't make a trade. So that way, because it'll also track if you're live, you know, if you are showing activity. So, yeah, so I'm going to do that because that way, if you show that you're asleep and somebody does a transaction and you miss it, it doesn't count against you. So every time I put a transaction in there, I am going to be asleep. I have to protect my position on that OTC. It seems a little harsh, I will say that, but I get it. They're trying to make sure that if somebody says that they're going to trade, they're going to trade. So actually going back to Lord of Pearl, the one thing with Lord of Pearl is that you actually deposit it and somebody else has already deposited their USDC. So when somebody says, I want to buy your Pearl that you've put on there as a proposed transaction, when they say go, it transacts immediately. So now instead of having Pearl in your account, you now have USDC in your account. So then you can transfer the USDC out, which costs you $1 in order to transfer it out. So not too much. Just got to make sure that you do it in large enough amounts that it makes it worth your while. I was testing it today, so it was like 120 something, I think. No, it was 116. I think is what it ended up coming out to be, 116 USDC, and yeah, something like that. Yeah, that sounds. Yeah, that's right. About 116 USDC, and transferred that over to Kraken, which I then bought. What did I buy? Bought Solana. Bought a little bit of Solana today. So as I mentioned on Red Panda stream today, I am buying with my Pearl proceeds. I am buying BTC, Solana, Ethereum, and Litecoin. So right now I've got my average price on BTC in my exchange. Doesn't count other things I've had for a very long time, which is a much lower price. But the one I have in the exchange, which is newer, is now below 90,000. My Solana is now below 110 for average price. I don't remember what my LTC is, but my Ethereum is less than 3,000, which isn't great. That's the one that hurts the most. 2 minutes, 2-minute warning. Hobbyist Miner will be here. Let me go back to there so I can see. We got 59. So they heard he was coming and then they left. I was up to 66 people. So appreciate you guys all being here. Probably left when we started saying how Gen X was awesome. That's probably what caused it. Screw the house, buy the land and build the house. Well, that takes time. Hey, Gen X could buy a house for 50K. Okay, first off, Gen X could not buy a house for 50K. Maybe really early Gen X, maybe. But my first house was over 100, was right at 100, and it was a duplex. So yeah. And yes, it's inflation, people. It happens. I could have still bought my house in 2020 when the interest rates were low. All right, let's see what else I missed. Yeah, you better be home before the streetlights come on. Exactly. And if I was just right next door, that my parents didn't care. They just said the thing that my parents always said was, "Tell me where you're going, and if you go from one person's house to another person's house, call from there. Tell me that you went there." That's it. They always wanted to know where I was. That was it. Tuman Char says I'm going to leave when he gets here. Wow. You people are brutal. Absolutely brutal. Oh, wow. Gen X created inflation. Okay, you're just trying to trigger me, Red Panda, and you're not going to. Because that would have been, if anybody wanted to make that argument, that would be boomers. Because that was like the big inflation was in the 70s with the boomers, not with Gen X. Get your facts straight, buddy. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna catch up with chat, and then I'm gonna bring Hobbyist in. Cookie Man, I will need to add some new comedy to the server. Which server? If I heard my dad's Camaro start up, I was in trouble. Better book it home. I never had my parents come out and find me in the car. I mean, our neighborhood was so small. We had so many kids within like a 1-block area. It was cool growing up. And yes, Tia, the boomers ruined it for all of us. Yes, you are correct. So when somebody says, makes a negative comment towards the boomers, I'm not saying I disagree. Just don't lump me in there because I ain't a boomer. And actually, I was on the early side of Gen X. Like my brother was a boomer or is a boomer. My sister is like the first year of Gen X. I'm the third year of Gen X. So yeah, when we bought our first houses, they were not 50K. They were 100K, and they were townhouses or duplexes. Capitalism and greed started with Gen X. Yep. Proud of it. Proud of it. Hell yeah. Um we had a house key on a shoelace. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, parents went, hey, we're going out. So we're going to lock the door. Make sure you put the key, your house key on your shoelace, or that you have it, because otherwise you won't be able to get in. And oh, by the way, there's the secret hiding place for the key that every house had. So, you can always go get that if you need to. We would change it every so often. It was definitely not an obvious spot. Not that I need to keep it a secret at all anymore, because I haven't lived in that house I've lived in my house for like 33 years. Alrighty, let me set this up. So give me a second, guys, while I get everything going. Let me remember. Don't have my notes with me. I think I do that. And then there we go. I knew I missed a button.
Oh my gosh, muted. Man.
You're both muted
twice. You've struck it out twice tonight.
Wait a minute, no. See, so I'm gonna say no, because I spoke before you, so you were actually muted after me.
I get it. Listen. First off, we gotta pull out the ban hammer on this tube and jar guy.
Okay.
He's out. He's out. I saw you. You're in the doghouse, young man. Come on now. We're talking about Gen X. We're gonna break out the paddle. All right. You might not know what that is. The paddle. It's got your name on it.
Are you Gen X?
No, I was born.
You're millennial.
Yeah. I was, without giving too much away, mid 80s, we'll say.
Okay. I mean, that isn't really giving too much away, but yeah. 80, I think 19, I forget when exactly Gen X finishes. Like I said, it started in 66.
My line is always, did you have 56K internet? If you did, okay, great. Then, that's the determining factor for me as to where it laid out for you.
Oh, if you originally, when you were born or when you were a kid?
No, when you were a kid. That's always my definition, because it's so interesting to chat with people, and that's always my marker for sure.
Yeah, that's true, because I did have 56K internet, but not until I was in college. When I finally got a computer midway through my junior year, 286. 286.
There you go. There you go. Heck yeah. If you were fighting your parents to not pick up the phone because they're going to kick you off the internet, if you guys, if you got a fax coming in and it kicked you off, you're in the middle of playing a video game or surfing the internet, that entirely applies to you. So
yeah, no. I was on the phone all the time with girls in high school. All the time.
I bet you were, you stud muffin. I bet you were.
No, you don't understand. I was friend zoned with the girl I really wanted to date. I was totally friend zoned. And she told me all about her boyfriends. And of course, I'm like, well, I'll be there waiting. Never happened. Never happened.
Guess it all worked out for the best, right?
It did.
Worked out for the best.
It did.
Cool.
It did.
Cool.
All right.
So,
let's get back on topic.
So listen, my mom told me I'm a little late. My mom told me I had to go ahead and finish my homework before I could come and play with my friends. So I finished editing my video. It's uploading for next week. So I'm allowed to come out and play now. Max came to the door with his bicycle wanting to know if I could come out and play.
Yeah. Did you finish your homework, son? No, well then go back to your room. I remember those days. That's right.
That's right.
Anyway, What do you want to start with? Your Vast issues?
Why not? Why
Rip the
not?
Band-Aid
So
off.
that's right. So Vast is a blessing and a curse. I'm going to put it out there for folks now. And I feel like I've had more issues than most, but I'm probably wrong. I think it's just the nature of the beast with Vast, and correct me if I'm wrong. But I
You're
am
not wrong.
finding more and more that like Vast is not very set it and forget it. And it seems to come in waves, and maybe I'm wrong. We're like, hey, it's good for a while, it's doing awesome, and then it runs into a challenge. So I had an issue I was telling Max about, and Max actually helped me out with the tail end of it. But I got this CDI error within my dashboard, which actually de-verifies you when that's happening. It's short term. You actually get an email and like they tell you you're de-verified,
Mhm.
and it's a message that says like your rig isn't visible to the market. And when I looked into it more and more, and I don't know entirely technical around it, I used a lot of tools, AI tools out there to be like, what is this? How do we fix it? It ends up being like it's all Vast, and this will lead into our conversation here a little bit, but it's a problem with Vast and with like these stale CDI almost reservations on each of your GPUs. And so it actually just like completely like kills your rig in that regard. And so I've gone in and like I reached out to them, I spoke with their support, and they're like, great, like send us your logs and we'll get back to you. And it's like, okay, cool. But like, it's not like we'll get back to you soon. It's just we'll get back to you. And so
When we feel like it.
as anybody who any of your audience out there for sure, like, when you look at this hardware, whether it's a home miner, whether it's a ASIC, whether it's a GPU rig or whatever, that's like lost revenue, right? Like
Mhm.
every minute and hour it just sits there, it's lost revenue. And so I gave it like a day, and that's probably longer than I even should. And then I was like, screw it, I'm gonna wipe this thing. Like wipe it, start fresh. And I didn't even bother with like trying to gut Vast and Docker. Um, I just started fresh and reinstalled everything, and actually decided Max helped me out with it. We decided to go through his script, and see kind of I let Max kind of tag along,
Yeah.
and I kind of gave it the user experience and picked at it a little bit and added recommendations here and there. But it went awesome. I used Max script, so anybody who's like considering buying it, absolutely recommend it.
Appreciate that.
Reinstalled it, and but I ended up getting that same exact issue like 2 to 3 days later. And I'm like, what is happening here? Like, this is a brand new rig. This is a brand new setup. And I was voicing some frustrations to Max about it because it's like, and did you share this? How like they're starting to back charge people or not
I did
yet?
not share that. I was gonna allow you to share that as
Okay. 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 So I started to get really frustrated by this because those of you guys that have been following along my story, I sold a bunch of my 3090s and the rigs, and I just powered them off like right in the middle of rentals, probably the worst type of operator out there. And I sold those rigs and did very well. I mean, my best 3090 was 1350. Um, but I got an email and I sent it to Max, and Max couldn't believe it, but it was literally an email that said, because they first email you and they're like, hey, we'd love to see you get your rig back up and running. Um, we'd love to see it back online for the customer. Totally get it. Like, right? Like, I get it. And so I just kind of let them know that, like, I won't be able to get that rig back up and running. And they were fine with that. But then, like, a week or two later, I got an email that was like, hey, due to like, I don't know, what did that verbiage say? Do you have that anywhere? Where
Uh,
is that?
I
I'm gonna scroll up on our
it would have been
conversation.
in our Discord conversation.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. I'm gonna find it real quick because I think they let's see. I'm gonna find it. Here it is right here. Hello. We spoke a bit over a week ago regarding machine XYZ, which went offline abruptly, in which you explained had been damaged by a power surge. I'm writing to inform you that we have deducted $11.88 from your pending earnings. And it goes on, whatever, very short type of deal. But that was the first time you had seen something like that, right?
Yeah, because what was my reaction?
You
WTF?
were,
When did they
yeah,
institute SLAs?
Yeah.
There aren't any. It's not in the
Yep.
contract.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very surprising. And as I voiced, like, I was okay with it because I'm like, listen, you're going to charge me $11.88. I ripped that rig out from underneath of your renter. I sold it. I totally get it. Like, I was completely okay.
Right.
Like, but as I voiced to Max, like, I'm having issues with my rig and it's a vast problem. Like, that CDI issue is old stale CDI records that Vast is presenting to my actual rig. And I actually spoke with them about this and I'm like, "Guys, how are you compensating me? Like, how are you compensating me as the operator
Yep.
when I'll be straight, your shit don't work?" Like, and so I ended up going ahead and spending a ton of time to go ahead and clear these, and I was able to get it cleared up, but like 30 minutes later, it came back again. So finally, I gave up. And then the next morning, they're all clear. And I'm like, I don't, I even emailed them and I'm like, what did you guys do? Like, this is fixed now. And they're like, oh, we didn't do anything. They're like, it just takes that long for these to sometimes clear up. And I'm like, this is so frustrating because now I could finally get it back up and running and listed. And this is a vast problem. And vast isn't like, oh, we're sorry. We're going to compensate you because
Right.
our program is stopping you from
Right.
lost revenue. So yeah, and Panda's in here. I swear, everything you are on, you get dinged. Yeah, and you know what? You know what? It is what it is. But it's like it drives me insane, and I'm rented now, and I'm back up and running now. But like, I thought this was a really good topic to chat about
Yeah.
with Max, because now we're looking at a situation where it's like, as an operator, you're going to start to get penalized if your rig isn't in the best standings or online anymore.
So for those people that might have also gotten this error, I
Mhm,
got this error like a couple days before you did. I think I
mhm.
mentioned this, but in my case, I got the bandwidth error first, which is
Mm,
basically saying, "Hey, we don't really have a connection to your GPU anymore." And
mm.
then I got the CDI. Then I went in and said NVIDIA-SMI and figured out that yeah, it's the one GPU on a ribbon cable in my Threadripper system.
Mm.
And so I'm like, all right, well, let me reboot it
Okay.
and see if it comes back with NVIDIA-SMI. It did. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to keep an eye on this to see if I can't continue to run it this way. But for right now, it hasn't had the problem again. But yeah, after a little while, that CDI command or that CDI error just automatically went away. But it didn't take anywhere near as long as yours was. Mine only
Yeah.
took probably like 4 or 5 hours, something like that, and then it was gone.
Yeah, well, I
So
did document like how exactly I fixed it, how it got cleared up and everything. So if anyone ever runs into it, feel free to reach out. I do have the commands that'll check it, that'll clear it, and everything like that, because that was something that I ran into and it was painful. So I'm hopefully back in good standings now. But that was super frustrating. Just like I was bitching at Max, like, just like, this is so stupid. Like, because I was frustrated, right?
yeah.
I just, now granted, I just picked up another 5090, so like, that is frustrating because I'm just like, I just want to get these things back up and running and rented, even though rentals are down dramatically right now, and I'm very surprised. I think you've alluded to a few times, a lot of it is most likely due to like school being out and summer being slower.
Well, kind of interesting. They're not down that much. It's just the fact that I don't know about you, but I'm holding out. I am not, continuing to
Drop your prices.
drop the prices just to get
Mm.
renters. I'm like, well, I've got Pearl mining, so I don't
Yeah,
need to.
yeah.
So I have been playing around with pricing. Started
Mm.
doing that a little bit more today, where I was like, well, you know what? I jacked up my internet pricing or my bandwidth pricing and my storage pricing. So I brought both of those back halfway from where
Okay.
I had them, and I want to see if that changes anything. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm going to wait until like mid next week to see if anything changes. But
Got it.
I've been about 50% rented. But
Okay.
I can't find any like rhyme or reason. It's like 4090s are about 50% rented, but it changes as to which ones because I've got a 6 GPU rig and an 8 GPU rig. And
Yeah.
thankfully on my 6 GPU rig, I have one instance of 4 GPUs that's been rented for a really, really long time.
Oh,
So
that's right. Still. Wow, that's
still,
awesome.
still. Now one of the problems I had this week, which is kind of another reason why it's like I'm glad I'm still at where I'm at. We had a tornado come through.
Mm.
Another one. Yes, another one.
Dude, the
Um,
tornadoes are wild this year. We never have
they
them in
are.
Pennsylvania, and there's been so many in Pennsylvania. There's been over 20 this year.
We've
Like,
had
it's
two
crazy.
in our town. Two in
That's
our town.
crazy.
I don't know what
Yeah.
this one got, if this one technically was a tornado or not, but I
Yeah.
mean, it took down trees like a 250-year-old oak north side of
Wow.
town, took it down and put it on a house.
Wow, it's a
So
shame.
I'm thinking that that tornado did come down there, and man, it was
Mhm.
wild. It was wild. We didn't hear the sirens didn't go off in our town. I could hear them going off in the town north of us,
Yeah, yeah.
and so I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to look outside towards the north, and then I couldn't see the houses behind us, and the rain was literally horizontal, faster than I've
Oh,
ever seen it
sideways.
go, and I
Wow.
was like, that looks like the edge of a tornado. It probably isn't, but I'm not going to mess around. I went into the basement, and as soon as I got in
Yeah.
the basement, I was like, those noises outside do not sound normal.
Sure,
And
sure.
so anyway, so I waited until like about 10 minutes, and then the noise finally let up and went upstairs. And yeah, we had some branch. I mean, again, we had a major storm. These were like 80-mile-an-hour winds. The previous storm was probably like 65 to 70-mile-an-hour winds because the tornado lifted before it got to us.
Did you
Um,
see BP's message? We had an F2 come through the town just last week, and it completely destroyed his roof of his
oh my
house.
gosh.
That's
Yeah, we
insane.
had
I
a
wonder where do you know where he's located? I was just
I do
curious, like,
not. I do not.
yeah, okay, okay. Jeez.
Yeah, it was a rain wrap tornado. You're right. It definitely was. Um, but yeah, the one that first came through the town, and actually video of the gas station. There was somebody who was in a
Mm.
Tesla that had a camera, and they
Oh,
released their
man.
video. And I don't know if the tornado was turning their car or if they were driving in the middle of the tornado. I don't
Oh my
know.
gosh.
But you could see the car turn, and I'm like, I bet
Yeah.
that was the wind that did it. Anyway, but you could see like it took down every single pump. Now they're breakaway pumps, so that's gonna be the first thing to go.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Didn't tear off the roof of the gas station, but it's a relatively new gas station. But the strip mall behind it, it took off parts of the roof. Yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, if you drive towards that part of town, you see tarps over all these roofs, and
Mhm.
major trees. Like half of them are missing, or they were just completely taken down. And
Jeez.
this one, I was literally, I could actually pull up a picture
That's wild.
on my
That's
phone. But
wild.
when I was driving home right before it hit, and I looked up ahead. So I'm driving down, I'm not gonna say what street I was on, but I was on a street where I was on top of like a hill on a major street. So it was
Okay.
very clear, and you could see the shelf cloud. It's plain
Oh,
as day. And I'm not talking like a shelf cloud where you can tell you're to the side of it. No, no, no. I'm directly in front of the shelf cloud. It's coming directly at me. And I'm like, yeah, that's definitely coming from my house. So then when I finally get home 5 minutes later, the shelf cloud is like at like an 80-degree angle to me. So I
mhm.
immediately got out, started taking video, but I got trees in my front yard. So I didn't really get any great video of it. But
Okay.
one person said when they saw it, they're like, is that a tornado over there? I'm like, no, 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 no. That was just a funky looking cloud. It definitely was not, but there was a lot of movement in it. But anyway, so then it started shooting the video, and I'm like, you could see, when you have those times where you can see the sheet of
Mhm.
rain coming at you. I
Oh,
could see
yeah,
the sheet of
yeah.
rain probably at that point, probably about a quarter mile away. And then I started feeling a few drops. I'm like, okay, time to go in. Went in, then opened up my back sliding glass door, and I could literally see coming down the backyards the actual like edge of the storm and the sheet of rain.
That's
Wish I had the camera out at that point, but it was very,
yeah.
very cool to see. But yeah,
Yeah,
we
the
were lucky.
weather's yeah, the weather's been absolutely wild, I feel like, this
Yeah.
year, like, especially, we've had 100-degree days for a while, like, and then
Mm.
all of a sudden, it's down in the 80s, and these crazy cold and hot, it's just these different fronts that keep coming through. But yeah, I would say anywhere from, like, Pennsylvania west out to where you are, and, like, I saw, like, there was what was it, Idaho had these, like, crazy hail, like, and all this, like, flooding. Did you see all that? If you look
Yeah.
that up, yeah, it's just absolutely wild, and this has turned into the weather, live stream, which I love it,
Sorry.
but I don't even know I was just thinking, I'm like, I don't even know how we got here, to be honest with
I
you, but
do.
here
I'm
we
gonna
are.
get to that in a second, but since we're
Okay.
on the weather topic, yeah, my wife's driving home from Huntsville, and she
Okay.
was driving up through Hopkinsville, and she's like, "What do I do? There's a tornado headed my way." And I'm like, "Well, if you stop now, it'll probably pass north of you." But it was like a
Mm,
super slow moving one, and then by the time where I told her to stop, if she had stayed, the tornado would have been like super close. So like
wow.
10 minutes before the beginning of the stream, as I'm like watching the storm going, "Oh my God, did I tell her to stop in the wrong spot? Oh my God." She calls, she's like, "Yeah, I'm at the hotel. I'm already in my room." And I'm like, "Oh God, thank God you left." So yeah, she's further
Okay.
north from Hopkinsville now, out of
Oh,
danger. And but yeah, that was a little stressful. Anyway, so how we got here was the power dipped because of all the rain,
okay.
all the wind. And
Yeah.
so I lost internet for 2 minutes, had
Okay.
a bunch of power dips, but nothing went down. Like nothing actually lost power in the house.
Oh, okay. Wow, interesting.
There were a few things that were affected. I lost lost one of the flux nodes. I actually I take that back. I think my NAS rebooted.
Mm.
Um, I'm pretty sure my NAS rebooted now that I think about it, because I did lose the flux node on that, and it was doing an array check. Um,
Oh, okay. A lot
uh,
of times that'll happen with power outages.
yeah,
When it comes back on, it'll do that. BP's in
yeah.
Kentucky, I think is what I saw, and he said he did. It's still crypto related. He said I had to liquidate quite a bit of my positions just to get the repair money. I get it. I get it.
Oh man,
Sometimes
it
you have to
sucks.
do that, which you don't want to, but I 100% get it.
You
Yeah,
guys
no,
weren't.
taking it back. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, BP, you weren't anywhere near the tornadoes that came through today through Kentucky. Hopefully not.
Yeah. Hmm.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
No, Panda was just saying, why is the Mid East USA getting tornadoes? I mean, Max could probably give more of a reason, but it's just this is not normal at all, like at all,
Well,
to have them in
it's becoming
Pennsylvania.
normal because Tornado Alley has moved to the east.
Mm,
It is not so much. You think about it. I mean, you don't hear about as many tornadoes in like Kansas and Oklahoma anymore. It's all
yeah.
forming. It used to form right after the mountains, and
Okay.
now I'm not sure why, but there's been talk about the fact that yeah, Tornado Alley is shifting more towards like Arkansas, Tennessee, Indiana, Kentucky, and
Mm,
Illinois,
yeah.
and
Illinois
eastern
got
Iowa.
hammered.
What
Yeah.
was that?
Yeah. Illinois definitely
Oh
got
yeah.
hammered. I like Where's Waldo's correct a comment. Do you guys do National Geographic talk as well? I'm interested.
We talk about anything, about anything.
That's right. That's right.
But actually, I've talked about community solar. Well, what my community solar farm actually was hit by a tornado a while
Mm,
back, and so I'm still waiting for one of the two solar farms that I am subscribed to come back online.
okay.
Thankfully, I expanded earlier in the year, so at least I have one community solar farm up and running. But yeah, and you were watching today's stream on Red Fox. I was like so fascinated when he was like, "Yeah, I did community solar." I'm like, somebody else in the community gets this. It is the most weird thing, and I had a trouble understanding it too, but it just works. And I say, simply put, 80 cents on the dollar or whatever your discount is. If it's 15 cents, 10
Yeah.
cents, whatever it is. But the way it works is whatever your discount is, you are literally paying 80 cents on the dollar, 85 cents on the dollar, 90 cents on the dollar, depending on what your discount is. And it is
Yeah.
stupidly easy, no investment. You
That's
can
cool.
pull out anytime you want. Yeah, it's
It's not available for me. I know you and I looked at it a while back when we were taking a look, but Panda says, "Do you guys have insurance against tornadoes?" So
yes.
I'm almost certain it's in almost all of your home insurances. Like you have flood built in there and everything. I think it all
Well,
comes out.
so unless you're
No,
in a floodplain, you do not have flood insurance.
correct. They'll have, yeah, that'll be in there. Correct. Yeah, because
Now,
that's like one of
if you
those
get
major
a
things.
flood due to a tornado, that's different.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
also,
Yep.
if you get like if you have water in the basement because you lost power, and
Hmm.
you have sewer
What's the
backup, yep,
reason?
you can get
What's the
sewer
reason?
sewer
Yeah.
backup insurance. So which I do have. So yeah, there's lots of other insurances, but yeah, the tornado is standard in policies.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I would
no problem there.
imagine, Panda, if you looked at yours, you would see that somewhere in there. if you looked in that verbiage. I don't even like that. That's absolutely crazy. But back to our discussions there on that.
Yeah. So anyway,
What did I?
my point
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that
yeah.
was the fact that I had a little dip during the week because of the storm, lost a few clients, but I gained them back towards the end of the week. So now I'm back to making about $150 a day and about $100 a day on Pearl. So I'm making
Mm.
approximately somewhere between $200 and $250 a day reliably with everything that's going on. So yeah.
Nice, nice. No, the other thing I'd sent Max that was interesting that I found was I know some of you guys use Salad in the industry still. I do not, but I know some people do. And Salad actually posted today around 1 p.m. Eastern. Attention Team Red, check this out. That's a new build of Salad, and it's for AMD machines. Only 90 and 70 series cards are supported, and only one machine with a singular AMD GPU. So that's pretty cool because that's their first like step into that, right?
Yeah. Wait a minute. 70 series is like 5070 XT count. What was no, it was 5700 XT. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
70
yeah,
series, right?
5700. Yep. Yeah, 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 yeah. So definitely newer gen. What are those? I am not as familiar on the 90 and 70 series. What are those? I guess what's the memory for that?
I don't know. I know that there are some that come
Yeah.
with 16 gig. I'm not super familiar with AMD just because there hasn't been really much
Yeah, looking
application
now.
for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely think it's a step in the right direction. So that's good to see.
Yeah, I was very curious because I imagine the memory's pretty high. I mean, you got like your 9070 XTs, your 9060 XTs. I'm just looking through here at the different ones that are out there to see here. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Like Swap 7 says the 7900X XTX is 24 gigabytes. So like that aligns like, where you're thinking like your 3090s and up and stuff like that, which is pretty slick. I mean, a lot of people have the AMD cards, but I find a lot of people have the AMD cards, which I think this aligns with Salad. It's in their daily driver because it was cheaper than like your NVIDIA series,
Hmm.
and it performed fantastic. The downside is it just hasn't really been available. So I imagine they're attacking your more common cards that are in daily drivers. Like you're not going to be like, hey, I got a 5080 in my daily driver, or something like that. Like that's why I think these are a little bit more common.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been kind of not on Salad recently. With Pearl being where it is. Um, but yeah, no, like I said, I still think Salad is a great platform. Uh, if you are not going to do anything, Salad's a great platform. You're making something, and making decent money on what you have. Um, yeah, Joker Miner is here. Now it's a party. Now it's a party, and Where's Waldo is here as well. Um, so yeah, so I'm not currently on Salad. I was recently.
Hmm.
Rondi is here. Wow.
Coming in. Smash
Hello.
that
They are
like
definitely
button.
coming
There you
in.
go. Yep. Oh yeah.
Okay. Wow. How did anybody do that?
What's
Did
that?
you see that like World Cup thing show up
I
in the
didn't.
chat?
I didn't. No. I mean, I see sent soccer trophy, but I didn't see anything else come up.
Oh,
Did it
okay. Yeah,
like
it was actually in the
okay.
middle of the chat. Who sent that?
There you go.
Was that Joker that
Joker.
sent?
That was probably that soccer trophy thing he sent right there. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, that
I
was
didn't
really
see it
cool.
though. I didn't see it. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again. There it is. There it is. There it is.
That is cool. That is very cool.
Yep. Yep.
I'd never
Oh,
seen that
they sent
before.
a gift. It's a gift. So they sent a gift. I don't know if it's worth anything, but they sent a soccer trophy. You see that? If you look at the top of chat, the little
Yeah,
purple
no, I
gift.
was looking at that. Yeah.
Yeah. Fancy. Aren't you
Yeah.
fancy?
I know that I activated something where you can like get like points and things. I don't know. I,
Okay.
I just said, well,
Okay.
this is interesting. Let me activate it and see if it does anything. YouTube's trying to do lots of different things to match a lot of the things that Twitter has. So that's one of the things I think that they did. But yeah. So yeah, yeah. I know you've been having some trouble. I know I had problems with Vast. I will say that I've had some pretty good luck in getting getting to good customer service agents with Vast.
Okay.
I generally try to push it a little bit, like,
Who's your
hey,
guy there? Who's the guy you work with there that you like?
I'm not going to say it publicly because I don't want
Okay.
to have
Okay.
anybody ask
I
for him.
I I work with Jay the most. When I'm chatting in the chat. The guy Jay is the guy that I deal with the most, and but a lot of the times that's not one of their like engineers though, because
Yeah,
sometimes they'll be like, "Hey, we have to pass it to our engineers." I think there's another guy named Kevin that I've worked with too. But
I'm
yeah,
looking
so
through if I can actually find out.
no, it's fine. It's not a big deal. I was just curious.
No,
I
I
was
was
just curious
curious
if
if I
I had
still
worked.
have it in my chat to
Okay.
see, because I had to scroll way down because it's been like really long time since I had talked with him. Um,
Okay.
I'm just currently scrolling through it to see if I can find who it is, if I even know who it still is.
Hmm.
Uh,
Dude, they're having a ball of a
oh, there
time
it
in
is.
chat with these trophies and coins and all this stuff. Listen, is any of it worth money? Come on now, folks. Come on.
I
Come
have
on
no
now.
idea. I have no idea. But hey, I'm glad you guys are having fun with it. Glad you guys are having
Yep.
fun with it.
Yep.
Yeah, I did find out who it was. Um,
Okay.
Not gonna say it, but he is like one of the guys
No, it's fine.
behind the scenes. He is actually the guy that created the auto verification uh whatever they script or platform or
Yeah.
whatever. But
Like the
he's the
like the
guy that
logic
created
or the
that.
logic or the logic
Yeah, he
behind that.
created the
Okay.
logic to make that happen
So we
daily.
should love and hate him then, pretty much is what you're saying.
Yes, yes,
Let's be
exactly.
honest.
Yes, exactly. Well, I like
Yeah.
I said, I found it so incredibly ironic that the worst platform, not the worst GPU, but the worst platform I put a GPU on, a 7th gen i7
Mhm.
7700 4 core 8 thread GPU from however many years ago, and like 48 gig of RAM, I think is what I had on it
Okay.
with a 4090, and it got verified in less than a day. Fastest I've ever been verified. And I'm like, are you kidding me? The interesting thing about it is I hadn't even run the bandwidth test on it to find a good server so I could get my bandwidth up higher. No, when it verified me, my top was both my download and my upload were less than 500. And
Was that when
my
Pearl
download should
Pearl was
always
at
be
his
above
peak?
500.
Was that when Pearl was at his peak?
No, it wasn't. It was after.
Oh. Oh,
So it was
interesting.
just like,
Wow.
I mean, it just blew my
Huh.
mind. I could not
Yeah.
believe it. Not that I'm
Bare
complaining.
Naked
I'm not
Miner,
complaining at
Bare
all.
Naked Miner with $2 super chat, but says 50 Canadian.
$50 Canadian. Yeah. Appreciate the $50 Canadian.
That's really
You know
funny.
who
That's
that
really
was
funny.
for.
Uh-huh. 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 I like it. I
Um,
like it.
anyway, did you have anything else? I mean, please stick around. I just meant, was there anything else you wanted to cover before we start talking about
The only other thing I sent you was which was related to Bitcoin, and I'm very curious on if people in the chat had seen it, or if you had seen it. But CZ was on an interview more recently, and he had suggested that if the original Satoshi wallet within the next 12 months does not have any movement, that he says Bitcoin should lock it in order to counter it being hacked by any quantum computing. And I thought that was interesting because
Yeah.
when there's two sides to that, but I'd love to get your thoughts on that first.
Well, the first thought is okay, lock it, but what do you do
Hmm.
to unlock it at that point?
Hmm.
And that'd be my first question. I get the point of trying to make sure that somebody can't again hack into somebody else's wallet. Um, but yeah, other than that, I hadn't really given it much thought.
Sure.
Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, when I think about it, like it's different if you know who the person is. Like, okay, the Satoshi wallet is Red Panda Mining, right? And even then, you don't know who he is from like a name, like who that person is. So the challenge is like, oh, that won't work. So let's say it's some actual person who you know who they are, right? That you know exactly who they are. The public knows who they are. Like they're this celebrity person, because of that. It's a little bit different in that regard because it's like, okay, we're going to lock this to protect the entire network and the integrity of it. And when the moment is right, we can work together to unlock it. That's a little bit different because we know who that person is. But
I
when you
need
don't
I,
know who that, go ahead.
right, right. No, I need to interrupt though because I heard what you said. You said RPM is Satoshi. That's what I heard. Is that
Oh,
what everybody else
100%,
heard?
100%, 100%, 100%. But when you don't know who that person is, like this
Right.
definitely goes in the eyes of like, um, there is no right for anybody to have their Bitcoin address locked it to start with without their permission. Like and they would of course have to go ahead and like there'd be so many like challenges built in with that. And it's insane to me to think that, right? Of like, I understand where they're coming from because like let's say all of a sudden the Satoshi wallet was hacked from some quantum computer out there. It
Mm-hmm.
would decimate like Bitcoin for a number of years, right?
Right.
Like the amount I get it, but at the same time, it's like I also don't agree that anybody has the right to do something like that, to lock a Bitcoin address
So
without
again,
permission.
I don't disagree with you, but again, defining locked and how you unlock it without
Yeah.
knowing
Yep.
what that means, I can't be a pro or a con against it
Sure.
because I
Sure.
don't know.
Sure.
But I like the idea from the standpoint of protecting those people that just have been letting their Bitcoin just sit and haven't given
Yep.
it a second thought. I know my cold wallet I haven't touched in
Mm-hmm.
probably 2 years. It's
Yeah.
just been
Yeah.
sitting there.
Yep.
So I mean, I do get it, but at the same time, yeah, I would need to know more. Would definitely
Yeah.
need to know more. And you know what?
Well, the
I got a
challenge.
better idea. Why don't they just make it quantum resistant? Just fix it.
Sure. Well, the challenge. So then you have your challenges there, where like, and this comes down to this. This is one avenue of like, are you forking Bitcoin to make changes to it to add protections in place? Are you forking Bitcoin to clean up the spam that is on the blockchain? This goes that same direction. I mean, that goes the whole direction of like Bitcoin knots versus Bitcoin core, and
Mhm.
like, do you end up forking it to add protections versus spam? um that's a huge argument. Do you change the fundamentals so that like wallets can be locked in some capacity? The challenge is there is like now you're manipulating something that was never meant to be manipulated, right? And I
Mhm.
get it, like times have changed and technology has advanced. I mean, we saw our first AI hack more recently, right? Where I don't know if you read that, like,
I
so it,
actually
it definitely it definitely adds a lot up for concern. And while I am a strong proponent of don't change anything about Bitcoin, because next thing you know, we're having it forked for cleaning up the spam. We're having it forked to be able to lock wallets against quantum computing. Now we're having it forked in order to change the supply, right? Like then it becomes then you muddy the water, and the next thing you know, you have the US dollar, right? I'm just like that's where it's like, okay, this it entirely takes away from it. So I'm no expert in that world, but I also know like if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality. And I get it. Some people want to be more proactive than reactive, but let's be honest. We as a society will mess it up. So don't touch it.
so here's one thing you can do with your Bitcoin wallet is if you don't have remember there's always like you have a 24 word seed phrase,
Hmm.
you can
Hmm.
add the 25th word. And the 25th
Hmm.
word is your word that you can use whatever you want. And
Hmm.
that will make you a lot more secure because it's not
Mm.
one of the seed phrase things. And if you
Sure.
made it a
Sure.
random generated, 12, even just 12 characters, it's going to be almost impossible to hack at that point. And here's the thing.
What's the name of that again? I don't recall the name. Like, what is that? There's a name
I
for that.
there's like
Okay.
it's like a password that you put on top. How do I
Hmm.
know that? Because I did it and I was trying to recover. So I have I forget where I put it. I actually have the card version of it, but I have EliPal and I have the card, and I have
Mm.
the actual like display version
Oh,
of it.
I've heard this story before. I've heard
Yeah,
this
and
story
I
before.
tried
Yep.
to recover the one that was on
Yep.
the actual original, and I couldn't.
Yep.
And so and then somebody finally said, what you probably put a
Who did
word
that?
on top of it. And so then I was like, okay, well, I still have access, so I can transfer everything to a new wallet. So I transferred everything to a new wallet with a new seed phrase. So now I know what it is. So
Yeah. Who did that? It actually did
yeah,
its job, right?
it did its
Absolutely did its
job. And
job.
I was so mad at EliPal at that point. Like, what is
Mhm.
the problem here? And I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
supposed to be
yeah.
doing a good video for them. And then with that whole thing, I was just like, no. And anyway, and then it ended up being me. So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
yeah.
User error, you know.
User error, yes.
Yep.
Come on, I'm the
Yep.
guy
I get it.
who can't get off mute. Of course I had a user error.
Uh, no, I get it. I get it. I mean, it's definitely something that's up for debate. I mean, the challenge is, something I thought about too. I was explaining this to a buddy the other day. We are having breakfast and catching up. And, if you think about it, how we have such a hard time explaining Bitcoin to your everyday pleb, right? And try to go, and we're still trying to get like adoption out there. We're getting there more and more, which is awesome. But then try to explain to these people at a 50,000 foot level the reason that we now need to go ahead and manipulate and change Bitcoin with something that we've preached can't be manipulated, can't be
Mhm.
hacked, can't be
Right.
changed, is resistant against inflation. And now you're like, oh, well, we need to go ahead and we need to make all these changes. And here's why. It's like, oh my gosh, like, are you kidding me? Like, good luck. And then try to then go ahead and then provide the news outlets to explain this to people, like the general public. How are you going to explain? How's a news anchor going to go ahead and explain this to the general public? I'm like, oh my, I mean, trust me, I'm no better. I'm just telling you, but still, I'm just like, holy cow, like it is not going to do anything for Bitcoin, but just push people to go ahead and liquidate their current positions because they're going to be like, nope, this isn't what I originally wanted. This isn't what I signed up for. I don't understand it. It's like, all right, we just can't even go that far.
Yeah. It's as Redemption said, if quantum computers are able to break any cryptography, including Bitcoin wallets are the least of our
Sure. Yep.
worries. That's a good
I can
point.
see that.
That's a
I
very
can
good
see
point.
that. I can see that.
And
Absolutely.
and
For
sorry, I
sure.
got to make the comment. Jay Styles said, "Sunflower Mama touched your cold wallet. You just don't know it." I know she has not touched my cold
Top
wallet. I have
secret.
no
Top
doubt
secret.
that she has not. She would not even know how to use it. I
Something
do
about
have.
go ahead.
Sorry. Speaking of that, I do have not great instructions, but I have instructions that she knows where to get on my
Mhm.
computer, and I need to get a better spot for it so that
Mm.
she can more easily get it if I was to meet my demise. Because that last thing
So
I'd want.
they call that a legacy plan, for
Yeah.
folks in chat, and I highly recommend it as well. I have one in place, and it just reminds me that I need to update it. And I highly recommend it for those of you guys in chat. Like, if you guys have gone the extra mile to go ahead and get a cold storage wallet, kudos to you. You're already halfway there. But then you need to make sure that you have instructions for your loved ones on how to access that crypto and like where all that information you need that in there so that they might not be able to do that by themselves, but they might be able to utilize a friend or family member
Right.
to be like, hey, I have everything I need here. How do I access this? If you were to go ahead and pass, because I think that's really important because that cold storage wallet does your loved ones no good. And all that crypto you put together does them no good if they have
Yep.
no clue how to access it. And it can't be on that your computer. Like, you can't, you really got to make sure that you at least have things documented really well, at least in that regard. So I highly recommend those in chat like look into that because I think that's super super important.
Yeah. Psalm 7 says Bitcoin is one of the few things you can't, or that you can take with you when you
Yeah,
die.
that's
That
right.
was way better than what I thought it said. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't take anything with you, but yeah, you can take Bitcoin with you when you die if you don't tell anybody how to access it.
Yep,
That's true.
exactly, exactly. And where was it? What did I see? It reminded me a little bit of this. Is like, was it California? I saw that was like if Bitcoin wallets are dormant on exchanges for X amount of time, California wants to like absorb that.
Yeah,
And I was like,
I
what?
saw that.
I was like, that's absolutely
Okay. Okay,
insane.
so I am not one that thinks that they are communist. Like I've heard other people say, But wait a second. They are just convincing me that maybe they crossed the line with that. Now,
Yeah,
we
it's
hear
just
these stories though, and we know that there are people that I don't know if this person is far right or far left. I would guess probably far left, but yeah, I don't think anybody. It's one of those things where somebody proposed it, and everybody went, "No, absolutely not." Uh, again, it
yeah, it's
got
wild.
proposed, but it wasn't passed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Smarter minds and more reasonable minds prevailed with that.
Sure, sure. Oh yeah,
That would be
yeah, absolutely
crazy.
crazy.
Hey,
I
my
get it.
son's here. Rylan Tech. Good to see you, Rylan. It's been a long time. Uh, and Jackson Digital is now here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Yes, but outside of those, I did not have a ton more to bring to the table of things I was like, oh, I'm eager to chat about tonight. So I will let you go. I
Okay.
just wanted to jump on and chat it up with your community.
Appreciate it.
Always a lot of fun. Make sure you guys give this man some more love. And Max, I will chat with you later. Have a good
All
one.
right. Appreciate it. See you
See
later.
ya. Bye bye.
All right. Let me switch this back so I'm not on video anymore. Give me 1 second. And there we go. Now we got things back to normal. You guys can hear me. I see that I'm not muted. So anyway, but he mentioned about the next thing I was talking about was about the version 3 of the script. So this week, I spent a lot of time on the website and finalizing a few things on the website. Last week, got everything transferred over to Cloudflare. And then this week was getting everything working correctly. Found out that my auto emails that were supposed to be going through SendGrid weren't going through SendGrid because SendGrid changed their policy and that they don't have a free plan anymore. So I had to change over to a different auto mailer, change that, and then made sure everything else was working properly. And then actually now all of the uploads that you guys make when you guys purchase or upgrade your script, that is now done through the website. So you no longer are downloading from my Pi in my house, which had been mostly reliable, but there were a few hiccups where it died and somebody said, "Hey, I can't download." I'm like, "Let me restart it." And they restarted it. Plus, it was slow. So I'm not saying Cloudflare is like speedy fast, but it's definitely faster than my 300 meg up that you get with the Pi. So I made all of those changes, learned a whole bunch in the process. Now I use my website being uploaded through GitHub. So I do GitHub pushes to do it that way. So I learned how to use that system. Trying to think of what else I might have changed. Oh, and then I updated the actual pages for the Vast installer. That now shows it's 24.04 instead of 22.04. So it is truly, and you heard if you were on Panda Stream, I asked him, I'm like, "Hey, how did it go?" And he's like, "Oh my God, it is so much easier." Mostly is I'm going to bring something up because I did have one person make a small, I don't want to say even a mistake. It should have worked. I think it's a problem with the new script, but anyway, I'll get into that in a second. But he had said it's like way faster. He's doing now in under 10 minutes. It's now so much easier because you're not transferring the script over to the target machine. Everything is bundled together in the ISO. So now when you just install automatically via the ISO, the script is there when you go in and it says, "Okay, this is the command to use." It literally tells you as it boots up, and the thing right above the command prompt tells you this is the command to put in, and you just put in the command, gives you all the prompts and everything to fill in, and then it just goes. And then you have to re-sign in when you get prompted. Actually, I don't even know if you have to re-sign in. You might have to re-sign in. I don't remember if I actually put that in there. But bottom line is you do have to put in the command again each time it reboots. There's 3 reboots. But so much easier. No more friction with the SCP command that was there before. And that was like the one thing I didn't like about it. So did some more research and got that fixed. So there's a few things that I wanted to point out. I did put out a Twitter post as well as a YouTube post about this, but there is a new command for Vast install. There's now 3 listed, and there's the one which is like an AWS download. It says in my instructions what format that download should be, and it's not that AWS one, that's the first one. So somebody used that, and again, it should have worked anyway, because it's still doing the same general install. But the problem is that when it did, it was like, we don't see anything here that's not that, like, there, it was like looking for a second drive. It was really weird. It wasn't taking like the unformatted partition that it does with the normal command. So he was running into an error that he couldn't get past. So I told him, okay, fine, you use that other one, that's fine, don't worry about it. Now just use that second command and put it on the command line, hit enter, and you should be good. And it just ran that command and he was good. So just make sure that you use that middle command. That's where it is right now, but just match that format. I will be updating the instructions in the next week or two. Kind of taking a week off from, man, I was spending a lot of hours fixing things and learning how to use GitHub, and yeah, a little stressful last week with doing all that and learning all that and trying to also get good night's sleep, which is one of the things I've been really trying to focus on, and not trying to always catch up on sleep on the weekend. So, but yeah, it is now the easiest and most up-to-date installer out there, hands down, full stop. Every other installer that's out there was still using 22.04 and either having to download the script from a website, or pretty much I think both of the others were downloading it from a website. I know one of them was actually saying like, no, it basically was taking out any security in the actual command of downloading that, which was not really great. But anyway, it's so much easier. And then of course the instructions are now HTML, super easy to follow. Again, there's a few very specific things to look for. Like I said, that command, that install command format, make sure you copy that one, which again right now is that second command in that section. So all right, let me catch up on chat. My 4090 fan on Gigabyte Gaming OC is dying. Mage Man Bro, yeah, welcome to the club. That's like, you know, just par for the course with the Gigabyte fans. Yeah, that and some of the Asus GPUs also. That's one nice thing. I've only had to replace one EVGA fan on all my EVGAs. One. That was it. My crypto is buried 5 feet south corner of my house, 10 foot west. Everybody write that down. That would be right. WRITE. I am the grammar police, in case you didn't know. Gigabyte was the Zotac of 4000 series. Yeah. Yes. That's a very good analogy. Very good analogy. Let's see. Yeah, really bad fans. Which house? Yeah. Thank you, Panda. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it. Like I said, I actually use that to, and it's funny, you mentioned to me, you're like, hey, yeah, and it got verified really fast. Don't think that has anything to do with the installer, but I will say that was the one that I just recently got verified in less than a day. That's the only one that I had get verified that quickly. So I don't think it's the installer, but I wonder if it's the fact that we're on 24.04 instead of 22.04, and that may be kind of the trick to getting auto installed, or not auto installed, getting verified quickly. I hadn't thought about that until now. I wonder. I should put out like a poll saying anybody that's used version 3 to do an install, how quickly were you verified after that, and what was your speed for your internet? Jay Style says, Max, if you already have Linux installed 22.04, 24, can you use a script on top and not have to reinstall the OS? No, and there's a reason for that. First off, if technically yes, if you have a 2-drive install. The problem is that when you use a 1-drive install, you basically have your really small partition, which I'm trying to remember what that's for. I can't remember the term for it. Anyway, it's not CSM, it's the other UEFI. It's your UEFI, very small partition, like 50 meg or something, or 100 meg, whatever, really small. And then you have your boot partition. And then everything else is not formatted. And so when it goes through the install, it's looking for a non-formatted large partition. Okay. So when I go through the install, Vast is expecting to see this open space. And also when you go through it, it'll ask, do you have a 1 or 2 drive installation? If you put 2 drive installation, you have 1 drive that hasn't been formatted. Hey, no problem. And there's other steps in there if it's a 2 drive installation. So yeah. So I would say you're better off just letting it do the reinstall. It doesn't take that much time, and that way it's much cleaner. Mage Man Bro says there is a bug in V3. If you have to redo the script command, it will not let you do script if you changed default login. Mage Man Bro DM me because I tested that at length, and it will let you log in the second. The second time you log in, you should be logging in under the new. Again, follow the instructions, but yeah, it should take whatever you changed it to. It should allow you to log in. If you're getting an error, then that means you're probably typing it in wrong. You're the first person that's mentioned that. So I'd be surprised. And trust me, I've had it happen. There are, especially if you have a mechanical keyboard that might be a little bit old, might do some double taps. It's not like you have the option to enter it twice. You only have the option to enter it once, and it doesn't show what you typed. So yeah. What does VM enabled mean? There is a way to get rid of it, but VM enabled means that a user can rent not just like a Docker container on your machine. It can actually take full control of your hardware as a VM. So that's what that means. So awesome. Not sure what you were referring to, Panda, but I also don't have my where is it? No, that's not what I wanted. There we go, timestamps. That was at 9:43, so I guess that was 3 minutes ago. Gives error, GPU rental doesn't exist after reposting info used on first boot script. Yeah, if you entered in a new user ID and password during the first boot, yeah, you shouldn't be using GPU rental after that. You should be using the new one. You should be using the new login that you just put in as part of the first part of all the inputs. So yes, it doesn't exist after the first reboot because you changed it. So anyway, let me see if there was anything else. Oh, I guess one other thing I was going to comment about with regarding Vast issues. I know when I had Vast problems that were caused by Vast, getting to the right people is important because they have a lot more leeway in, shall we say, what they can do for you. In my case, they were trying to fix it. They could not. And they said, you're just going to have to reload it. I was like, fine. Can you help me out with becoming verified? They can do that. Not saying they're going to do it anymore, but for me, they actually rented me for a while until I got to 90%, then verified me because they did that. So by the way, when you are rented, you will generally get you'll get not verified. You'll get your reliability goes up faster when you're rented. But you got to kind of be careful with that, because once you get to 90%, you want to be unrented or only rented intermittently so that their verification script can run. So anyway, but yeah, they were nice enough that once it got to 90%, they verified me. So that was cool. Let's see. Everything was fine with the script you made. Only downside is no option for static IP. Well, that wouldn't. Oh, interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Had not thought about that. Right, Mage Man, you're talking about it tries it on the second boot. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to use the GPU rental at that point. It will have removed it and it'll be put in what you had put in during the first entry. During the first boot, you have a number of fields to fill in. And one of them is new user ID. Now, the other thing is, I'm trying to remember exactly. Yeah, I'd have to go through the instructions to figure out. But anyway, bottom line is, look at the instructions. I can tell you that it's you just need to be really careful on how you fill that in. And honestly, if you can't log in, just go back and reinstall and be really careful on how you enter that in. No need unless you have BGP. Good point, Swamp7. Obviously, if you have redundant internet, therefore you have a static IP. So the other thing is, so I don't put in static IP. What I do is that I reserve the IP in the router. So the IP will never change. I don't actually make it static on the device. But yeah, it is important to make sure that that IP address doesn't change every time you boot it up. But yeah, you can go into your router and actually reserve the IP address so that it doesn't change for that that machine. It's going to identify it via the hardware ID, and I'm trying to remember what that hardware ID is called. It's like an 8-digit ID for that hardware. He was talking LAN. So basically, when you install it, there's no option to make the when you're going through the install to actually put in a static IP. Now you can change that after the fact, and I'm not going to change the script because 99% of the people aren't going to put in a static IP, but I could put in instructions on how to change that after the fact because it's not that hard. Only noob system admins run a DHCP server. Well, you know what? Most of us are noobs. So yeah. But like I said, there is a way to go ahead and do that after the fact. Most people are not. Most of the customers that are going to be buying my script are not going to be putting in a static IP. They're just not. Anyway, like I said, well, Swamp7, debate me. What's the difference between reserving an IP and doing static IP? I understand that it's still the router that's providing the IP address when it boots. I get that. But in practice, why does that change anything? Why does that really matter? Cooking Mailman, noob all the way and proud of it. Yeah. But I will definitely, it's important to make sure that you do reserve the IP address because it is possible for it to change and that will screw things up. And I've had it actually happen to me where I was like, I swear to God, I assigned that. And then I look, I'm like, it changed the IP address on me. Oh yeah, because I didn't reserve it. My bad. Yeah, exactly. That's what in Ubiquiti, I just click the button, reserve IP. Very simple. Very, very simple. And again, you just said the word that sets off Swamp7 because he hates Ubiquiti, which I can somewhat appreciate because, I mean, I don't like Apple. I much prefer Android to Apple phones, and Ubiquiti has like the Apple mentality of things. But when it comes to networking, it just works. It just works. Now, with that said, is I've had times where I used to have automatic updates for networking. No more. I wait 6 months and then I update. I want to make sure there aren't any problems, because one time I updated and it caused all kinds of problems because um, Comcast and Ubiquiti were not getting along. So basically, when Comcast was acting stupid with packet loss, the router would be like, oh, forget you, and just shut down. Like, not shut down, but it would no longer accept the connection. So all I'd have to do is unplug and plug the Ethernet, unplug the Ethernet and plug it back in, and it would get right back up. That's dumb. And so they fixed it to make sure that that didn't happen. Swamp 7 says, I tell people I don't like to buy Unify crap. See, there you go. And you kept it nice and short and simple. You didn't even like expound upon it. Just keep it simple. Just like Unify. Alrighty, I got 6 more minutes in me, guys. Man, I can't believe I've been standing all this time and the right hip doesn't even hurt. Left ankle's a little sore right now, but hey, I can't even imagine being able to stand for this length of time 6 months ago. So one of the other things I did, just on a totally different subject, so I had watched a video last week from Undecided about Pila, which is a decentralized energy resource. DER. You're going to be hearing more and more about DER. And batteries obviously are a decentralized energy resource. And Pila is a plugin DER. And it's interesting in the fact that, yeah, you can back up your house, but so far Pila hasn't enabled being able to plug it in and have it back up everything in your house. And obviously it wouldn't be able to back up everything in my house because it runs on 120 volts. But for the average consumer, it would be able to once it enables that technology. But right now, the electrical standards don't really accept it yet. But it's fascinating how things are changing when it comes to DER, and it is going to be the technology that is huge. So right now, there's a company called Base coming in Illinois, Base Power Company, and Base is currently based in Texas, and they've been putting out batteries at low cost. And in Illinois, they're doing the same thing. Basically what they do is they install a battery. Originally, they came into the market saying $295. Now the advertisements say $95 all in. There's a yearly fee. I forget what that is. They don't disclose that in the ad. And then 25% off the standard rate. Now I have much more off than 25% off the standard rate. But it's very, very interesting. Now I can't use it because it's a 25 kilowatt hour battery, which is great, but it's only like 11 kilowatt inverter. For 99% of people out there, that's going to be more than enough. But for me, it's not, because I'm putting out like 15 to 20 kilowatts, like 15 to 17 really, is what I put out. And so if it was going to go over and switch over to battery, it'd be like, sorry. It would never turn on because it's too much of a power demand in order to run everything. So, but anyway, that is, and their business model is basically a 3.5 year payback for them. They break even in 3.5 years based upon the virtual power plant program, which, by the way, in Illinois is going active this month. I just found out. So I'm debating on whether to do VPP, actually get batteries. I started looking into it earlier in the year, was waiting for more details on the VPP program. Now I have a little bit more detail, and it's not great. I thought there was going to be like a lump sum payment every year for being part of the VPP program. Well, in my particular situation, when the utility would say, hey, I need your battery to discharge. Well, it's going to discharge everything into my home. So when it would do that, it wouldn't actually distribute any energy out to the grid. It would just reduce the amount of energy that I was taking from the grid, which in essence is the same thing, but that's not how they measure it. How they measure it is how much energy are you putting out into the grid. So for me, yeah, you get like $300, $250 to $300. They're still playing around with that, what that exact number is going to be, but $250 to $300 per kilowatt hour of battery. So like one power wall is like over $4,000 credit towards the purchase of a battery. This is an Illinois ComEd program. So anyway, there's a lot of things. This is all done through Illinois legislature and such, but yeah, I mean, we're finally getting virtual power plant in Illinois. So I'm fascinated by this technology, and it's very interesting. They're trying to make it where it's plug-in technology. You don't have to have an electrician come out or anything like that. You just simply plug it in. So I'm looking forward to that. And they're certainly making things a lot. I mean, there's like meter collars that are now available for connecting up the batteries to make the actual connection into your home like so much easier. Yeah, anyway, I'm fascinated by the technology, and I did a deep dive into that today through a number of different companies. Pila was kind of what started that, and then found a number of other companies that are also big in it. There's what was the name? Anyway, there's a conference that happens in New York on Governor's Island every year. It's like this September, I think, August or September. And anyway, it's fascinating technology, and people are really passionate about it because it can really, really help bring stability to the grid when you have so much decentralized power. The Squirrel Master, use the KISS method. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. But again, there are ways to make it static after the fact through a few commands. It's not hard. Mage Man Bro says, I need to fix my power bill. I'm going to set up an hour appointment. Do you accept crypto or just USD? Yeah, send me a DM. I can do crypto. I usually do it through IntraWise, but yeah, if you just want to set something up directly. And before we do that, tell me where you're located. And depending on where you're located, like if you're located in Illinois, especially if you're in the ComEd area, yeah, we can do something. Because I have a spreadsheet that I have published on, I forget what site it is. Nobody's bought it. I didn't expect them to, but I was actually thinking about doing a energy audit business, because I see so many people. They're like, you do what? Wait a minute, how do you have your light rate so low? I'm like, okay, part of it is because of how much energy I use at night, but at the same time, I mean, community solar, no brainer, absolutely no brainer. And for those people that might have an electric car, yeah, totally no brainer to go hourly pricing, because you're going to use that energy at night. So anyway, but I have a spreadsheet that basically says I have the ability to pull the data from ComEd. If you give me a little bit of information about your account, I don't have access to any of the money part of it, just the billing part of it, of how much energy you specifically used during a period of time, hour by actually half hour by half hour, actually over the last 12 months, and a few other like key pieces of information. There's like a constant that I need as far as for like the demand charge, although that's like pretty minimal. And then I can compare it directly to the standard rate over the last 12 months, and then come up with, would you have saved money and how much based upon that data. For me, when I actually ran that on my own account, it was short by about $500. So it's a conservative estimate. I ran it on my sister. She would have saved like $50 over a period of a year. Not really worth it, because then you have the risk of, is this year going to be like last year, those types of things. But anyway, if you are interested in that thing, send me a DM. I'll run through it with you, because I do want to test it out on a few people before I kind of go. Like I said, it's an idea I have about doing energy audits for residents. and then do a what do you call it? Kind of a revenue share type of thing. Basically, 30% of the first year savings up to a maximum of a certain amount of money. I won't go through that total business model yet, but that's kind of what I was thinking. Kind of similar to what a real estate attorney does when they're contesting your real estate taxes. They basically say, "Yeah, I'll bring down your taxes, but any money I save, I take a third of that, and you get to keep 2/3 for the first year, and then you get to benefit from that moving forward. Plus, you get to benefit the 2/3 of it for the first year." So that's kind of the same idea that I have for that. You're in Florida. Yeah, Florida isn't even a market that has you don't have options. It's not an open market from what I understand. And if I remember correctly, Florida is not a state with community solar. I save your money. I'd love to try to help you, but I've looked at Florida before because my sister-in-law is down there, and I was trying to help her to see if I was trying to see if I could help her. And she's in the Tampa area, but from what I've read, pretty much all of Florida, unless you're in a co-op or something. But if you're in a co-op, you don't have the same problems as if you're part of just the utility. There are community solar programs out there, but they're more like, yeah, join our community solar program. We won't save you any money, but you'll feel good about it because you're using community solar. Yeah, go away. Uh, yeah, no thanks. So anyway, so that's my understanding about Florida, and um, their power setup. So yeah, there's certainly in Illinois, I can help. Ameren has a lot of the same types of things. I don't know the data setup for them. I would have to look at it a little bit more and get access to somebody's Ameren account to see what data is available. But I do know that they have generally the same types of programs. They have hourly pricing in Southern Illinois. Basically, Ameren is basically everything south of Interstate 80, approximately. I'm sure there's a few exceptions here and there that might go north or south of Interstate 80, but that's generally the dividing line between ComEd and Ameren. So yeah. So anyway, so sorry. Wish I could help you, but yeah, Florida's good for a lot of things. Power is, it could be worse. Let's put it that way. You could live in, I guess Massachusetts is getting better in the options that you have available. But Florida, you don't have a lot of options. But as far as I understand, you guys still have full net metering. Illinois, they've even gone away from full net metering. It's now just the supply side, not supply and distribution like it was. So I'm grandfathered in if it mattered because I use all my solar at this point. But yeah. Oh, it was more personal solar programs of existing equipment. Current bill is high with 7 kilowatt solar. I mean, you can set up some time. I'd be happy to review it with you. I just didn't want to get your hopes up. Like a lot of the things I talk about being available to you, I don't think they are. But like I said, I can review your solar and see if there's anything going on. Possibly, I know on mine, one of my power optimizers is out, so I'm only running on 18 instead of 19 solar panels. It's not worth it to have somebody go up there yet because it would cost probably about almost $1,000 to have somebody go up there, find out which panel is actually has the power optimizer down, replace it. And the power optimizer technically is under warranty. That ain't the problem. It's the actual labor to go do it. Is the guy would be out here for at least half a day, getting up there, and he'd have to remove panels to get to the panel that he needs to get to. It's a process. It's a process. Alrighty, guys, it is 10:07. I'll give you 3 more minutes if anybody has any more questions. We've obviously taken a dip. We're down to 45 users again, 45 people in chat. Appreciate everybody that came out tonight. Definitely appreciate those that did do super chats and subscribers and all that kind of stuff. Rodney for being a member for 45 months. Definitely appreciate that. Yeah, so All right, let me go back down to the arigato. It's funny. I actually was just looking at, I got an advertisement for Styx tickets. Um, I forget what they're going to be. I saw Styx in concert a few years ago with REO Speedwagon. That was a blast of a concert. And I guess Loverboy was first, which we completely missed. But from what I understand, we didn't miss anything. They weren't very good. But yeah, REO Speedwagon was really good, and it's just it's singing the songs of when I grew up. Styx started in the late '70s and went through the '80s, and REO Speedwagon through the '80s. Yeah, it was. We were all singing to the songs. It was so much fun. So much fun. Saw Styx on my birthday when I was 16. Yeah, the one regret I have, I was dating a girl. I might have even said this before. I was dating a girl in high school, and it was my birthday, and I had Rush concert tickets. Such an idiot. Not for having the Rush concert tickets, but selling my Rush concert tickets at a discount because my girlfriend had other plans, and she's like, I spent all this time on these plans. Da 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 da. I might have dated her for like 2 weeks or something. It wasn't even like that long. It wasn't even a long-term girlfriend. I was so stupid. I should have said, no, I'm going to the concert. That would have been the logical thing to do. It was so stupid. Anyway, so I didn't see Rush in concert. One of my, I'd say pretty much my main regret when I was growing up that I didn't go to that concert. It's cool to see Rush out on tour now, though. With a new drummer. Yeah. Let's see. Here in Michigan, we have just over 1,500 windmills and 2 nukes in the state as of now. Yeah, we have a bunch of nuclear power plants in Illinois. Except Illinois legislature actually does some good things. And one of them was when the price of electricity was way down, they saw what was coming and they said, no, you cannot turn off these nuclear power plants. They did it under the guise of clean energy, but we needed the energy, and so they ended up putting together a bill that basically said, okay, we're going to make sure we keep you whole when the price of electricity is down, but if the price of electricity goes up, you don't get to over profit because the price of electricity, you have to pay that back. So we're going to make sure that you're profitable to X amount, but that's what you're going to be profitable to, and that's it until May of 2027. So we got one more, little less than one more year of this, and right now where the price of power is, yeah, we're benefiting from it. We're getting huge credits as a result, which is helping keep everybody's price down for the most part. So let's see. Best concert I ever went to was Rock am Ring 05 in Nuremberg, Delaware. Nuremberg, Delaware. Interesting. I don't even know what that is. Rock am Ring 05. I'm guessing it was in 2005. Wish I could have seen Three Doors Down Creed tour. Yeah, that would have been a good one. Yeah, ticket prices are DE, not Delaware. I was gonna say Nuremberg. That's a German town, but I wasn't sure. So yeah, current Creed Mammoth ticket price is for $550. Yeah, it's crazy the prices of tickets. Now, what's cool is you can generally, like when we went 3 years ago to see REO Speedwagon, Styx, and well, like I said, we missed Loverboy, but yeah, the prices were like $25 a ticket. We got like some special deal. Yeah, it was we got a really good deal. So that was definitely fun. It was out on the lawn, but you were sitting around our friends. It was fine. Yeah, definitely fun. Oh, it's a huge racetrack. Yeah, for those people that are Bears fans, you guys know about Arlington Park Racetrack and the Bears possibly building their stadium there, but we will see. Who knows? It's the drama of the Chicago Bears right now of where will their next stadium be? And I would bet it's not going to be in Hammond, Indiana, like everybody thinks it is because of what was said and what was voted on, and it's all a ploy to get Illinois in gear. By the way, the Indianapolis Colts has threatened to leave the state if the Bears come and build a stadium in Hammond. And guess what? They've done it before. They used to be the Baltimore Colts until they. Oh, you know what? What was that? Yeah, that's right. So the Baltimore Colts left and moved to Indianapolis in the dark of night, and then you had the Cleveland Browns that left. I'm not sure if I'm trying to remember if it was just the Cleveland Browns that left in the dark of night, or if it was the Colts. Anyway, somebody can refresh my memory. But anyway, yeah, that's why we have the Baltimore Ravens, because the Baltimore Colts moved, and then the Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore, and then the Cleveland Browns became a new team. Max, summertime low for rentals. September better because of school. So it's an interesting thing. I don't know. Last year I was surprised. I was ready for it. I'm like, it's gonna come down, and it didn't. It didn't come down. Demand stayed strong through the summer. But there's some changes. There's some differences. One is there's been a huge influx of hardware on Vast because of Pearl. So you have this large influx of hardware, and maybe demand is still going up slightly, but yeah, I don't know. It's still, I think the jury's still out on it. Like I said, I think I could become 100% rented if I decided to lower my prices, but because of where Pearl is right now, I'm not willing to do that because I'm making good money mining Pearl. If Pearl went down to 40 cents or 35 cents, then maybe I would be more rented because I'd have to lower my prices to match what I'd be making on Pearl. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see what happens. But I will tell you, last year that was not the case. It was definitely not the case. It was a strong summer of demand. And you know what? Do I have that? Unless it's, wait a minute, hang on a second. Was it the beginning of this article? Give me 1 second. There was something I was reading. Oh yeah, it is in the beginning of this. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so this is part of this Thunder Compute, but this is generally understood. The global data center GPU market is projected to grow from 138 billion in 2026 to 624 billion by 2034. So about 4 to 5 times as much. The GPU rental market, that's not data center. That's GPU rental market, that's not data center, is not lagging behind, growing from 3.34 billion in 2023, projected to be 26 billion by 2032. It's already reached 7.38 billion in 2026. So we'll do 3 to 4 times in that 6-year period, as opposed to the other one that's like an 8-year period that's 4 to 5 times. So generally about the same growth. So if that demand keeps going up, we'll have to wait and see. Because if the demand keeps going up, I could still see it being strong, especially with the way hardware prices are right now. Hardware prices are continuing to go up, and that's gonna stop people from being able to deploy more and more. I mean, the RTX Pro 5000 that I bought back in February or so was $4,500. It's now $6,000. It went up by over 30%. We're seeing similar going on with the 5090 and more price increases happening on the 5090. So I still predict we're going to approach $5,000 market on 5090s. I think we'll get there. That's my prediction. Will I sell at $5,000? I don't know. I said it would have to get to $5,000 before I'd seriously consider selling 5090s. I haven't checked recently what 4090s are going for, but I have kind of started to, like, is it time? is it time to take money from 4090s and start putting them into higher end GPUs, whether I buy more RTX Pro 5000s or some other RTX Pro series or 5090s or not. So I don't know. Still kind of toying with that. Yeah. So, all right. I still remember the Mayflower trucks. It was the Browns. Oh, the Browns were the ones. No, okay, that's what I thought. The Colts left in the dark of night. That's what I thought. Did the Chicago Bulls do well this year? No, I think they had the fourth or was it the sixth? I don't know. They had a high draft pick this year. I haven't really been keeping track of them, honestly. But yeah. Mageman Bro says, what 6X rig would you do on a 128 gig Threadripper Pro? 6X. So in other words, you want to put six GPUs. Let me get out of this now. You want to put 6 GPUs on 128 gig. If I was going to do that, I'd probably do it on 5060 Ti, 16 gig, because you can't really do it on six. I wouldn't do it on 65090s or 64090s. And I would do it on a low cost. But again, how are you going to get 6 on a 128 gig Threadripper? Most I've seen is like 4 slots, unless you're going to bifurcate the slots. Maybe it's just possible. So maybe that's what you're going to do. I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, the Browns became the Ravens. Yeah, I was familiar with that. I just wasn't sure if they left in the dark of night. I was pretty sure it was the Colts that left in the dark of night. When my great uncle Art sold them. Are you serious? That's your great uncle? Wow. Your board is 7 on a Threadripper. Wow. Huh. I mean, I know it has enough PCIe lanes, so I'm assuming it's got 2. It's not single slot cards. It can do dual slots. I mean, that would be the other thing. Would you buy 8x 5060 Ti 16 gig or 8x 5070 12 gig for my next server build in those gigabyte cases? I would not do 5070s. If I was going to do either of those, I would probably do the 5060 Ti's at 16 gig. Memory's everything. So I'm hoping, depends, I'm trying to get a company to provide me with an 8 GPU server case. That is very questionable about whether that'll happen, but trying to make that happen. And if that does happen, I'm going to put 8 5060 Ti's in that case. So I have 8 5060 Ti's. So, and they're all dual slot cards, which would fit. So we'll see. It is risers. It is Gen 4 X16. Okay, got it. And I was going to say, the other thing is you have to have risers. He's my GPA's uncle? GPA. Who's GPA? GPA. I'm trying to figure out what that's an abbreviation for. I'm sure it's probably obvious, but I'm not getting it. Grandpa. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So distant uncle, but still. Your grandpa's uncle? God, would Art really be that old at this point? I guess he probably would be. Probably would be. There's some reasoning as to why the 5070 would be better for AI than the 5060 Ti, but I don't know. Well, it's certainly, well, there's 2 things. One is, if you're going to put them all on the same machine, you have 16 lanes versus a 5060 Ti, which only has 8 lanes. So that is a drawback of the 5060 Ti. It only has 8 lanes. If you're running inference, not a big deal. If you're running other workloads like graphics or videos or stuff like that, yeah, that ain't going to work across multiple GPUs that are only 8 lanes, especially if you're running it on PCIe 4. If you're running on a PCIe 5 at 8 lanes, well, that's still the same speed as PCIe 4 16 lanes. That could work. Yeah, so I don't know. Swamp 7, if you're still here, you got an opinion on that? Time to go charge my Discover. I am not advocating anybody to go buy stuff. You do that at your own risk. I am not giving financial advice. It was an either or proposition. He was going to do either or. And what would I do if I was in his shoes? I probably wouldn't do either. I would try to go something with higher VRAM. That's what I would try to do. That would be PCIe 5. So, I'm kind of curious to see if my battery on my, yeah, it did eat in battery. Yeah, when I'm using this thing, even though I have it hooked up via USB to charge it, it does lose charge while I'm talking. It went from 39% down to 23% while it was plugged in. It is my horrible decision, but mine alone. Yes. I'll tell you what, I kind of questioned the RTX Pro 5000 for a while. But yeah, I do like it now. I do like it a lot. All right, guys, I go way over time, way over how long I was going to go. I am going to call it a night. But I appreciate you guys all being here, especially all you diehards. Diehard of 45 people that stayed till the end. I do appreciate it. If you guys do have questions that you didn't think about, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Not saying how soon I'll be able to answer them, but I do respond to everything that you guys ask. Again, if it is a lengthy discussion where it's going to require a lot of like some research on my part or a lot of thought, I'm going to say, hey, schedule some time. But if it's a simple question, feel free. So, alrighty, guys, appreciate your time. And as always, no tabs were harmed in the making of this live stream. Have a good night, everybody.